Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Disgustingly Resilient podcast. And today's episode we're looking at nothing other than the most important trick you need to learn if you are going to be playing the Flyblown host Detachment. Now before we get into it, if you do like this kind of content, please feel free to leave a like and a subscribe on the video. It really helps us out. If you really like the content, consider becoming a Plague Marine member. You get access to our Discord, you get access to downloads of the music for the channel that we use on streams, you get access to an amazing giveaway we've got going on at the moment where you can win your own custom designed shirt by the person who designed Cody Rhodes' shirt for the WWE, so he's a very professional person. So you can get involved in all of that if you want to check it out. Check out the join button below. Link to get in the Discord once you have become a member is on our community tab on our YouTube homepage. But let's get into today. This is what you're here for. You're here for content, and this is what we're going to get into today. So first off, quick recap. What is the Foetid Fight Phase? The Foetid Fight Phase is a mini-series we've been doing on the channel looking at advanced fight phase tactics. What we usually do is we talk about it, and then we give a live example of it used on a table. So Table Aiden will once again be here today to take you through. And then we usually have a breakdown. And the idea of this series was that we started simple and we've expanded. So we started with something like self-move blocking. If you've not checked that out and you don't know what that is, I would highly recommend you go and check out the other episodes in this series. There is a playlist for it. You can go check it out. It's called Foetid Fight Phase. It's one of my proudest things. It's not got the most views on this playlist, but it's one of the things I'm most proud of. I'm very happy with this series. And yeah, the idea is that we're teaching you tricks and tips to use in the fight phase, mainly around melee, charging, etc. that you might not at first, especially maybe if you're a new player, you won't even think is possible and you wouldn't have ever thought of. But then when you see it actually play out, you can start to see the power the fight phase and the little strategy and the little micro movements can actually give you. So that's what this is all about. Okay, so before we go into this, because it's very important to understand that this is the most important trick with Flyblown Host. It's the most powerful stratagem Flyblown Host has, is what we're going to be talking about. It is the best thing this detachment can do, and it's one of the few legs up it has over Plague Company. But to understand it, we first need to get ourselves a quick rules recap of the fight phase. So the first thing we need to think of is what units are eligible to fight in the fight phase. Now, obviously, the first up is any unit that's within engagement range of an enemy unit. So if you are in melee with another unit, obviously you're eligible to fight. However, there is another caveat, and this is the one we need to remember more. Any unit that's made a charge move this turn is still eligible to fight. Okay? So even if they're not in engagement range, so if you've charged and maybe you tank shocked it and killed it, you're still eligible to fight even though there's nothing in an engagement range of you. So that is quite important to remember. Now, the second thing is that we must base to base if possible, and if not, we must just end the charge move closer on a model by model basis. Now this takes us back to our first video we did where we talked about the self-move block. This is the idea of basically moving our models in a certain sequence to prevent other models in the same unit being able to reach base to base. That is a legal thing to do. You are able to basically, let's say we have two Terminators here, you can put them just a slight fraction smaller than a Terminator base size of a charge. So Mr. Third Terminator can't fit in this gap in between them, which means that he can go around or wherever else he wants. So that's important to remember. But then the last thing I want to really cover on is to remember the full fight phase sequence. When a unit is picked to fight in the fight phase, it goes in 3 steps. There is a pile-in. This is usually 3 inches towards the closest enemy model. And then you fight. This is where you actually roll your attacks and do damage. And then there's a consolidate at the end, which is normally a 3-inch move again at the end, where you have to either get close to the closest enemy model, and you can only move it if you can end an engagement range, or if you can end that move onto an objective. Now, you must always prioritize going into combat with an enemy unit over moving onto an objective, so do remember that. But these are the steps we need to break down. So always remember, pile in first, then fight and swing all your things, and then consolidate, okay? Right, moving on. So what's the goal today? The goal is to set up scenarios that are going to allow us to slingshot a unit. We're going to use clever positioning to tag multiple units and do clever things with this, which is basically going to shut down our opponent. And we're going to use this technique to turn our 4-inch Terminators into speed demons. We're going to have 4-inch move Terminators move 24 inches. It's pretty crazy. And we're going to maximize the use of other stratagems and multiple charges that are basically going to enable this to work. And we're also then going to abuse the 6-inch pile-in and consolidate stratagem that Flyblown Host has to make this even more absurd. So let's have a look at the stratagem first. So Vermin Cloud. what is Vermin Cloud? Well, Vermin Cloud is the stratagem in question. This is the most powerful thing of Flyblown Host, and it is the reason to play Flyblown Host. It gives a unit in the fight phase and 6-inch pile-in and consolidate, not or, and. The reason this is incredibly powerful is because it's incredibly hard to stop you getting to swing wherever you want to. Normally what would happen is if you had a screen of guardsmen, for example, and a tank commander behind, you could leave a 4.1 inch gap between them, because even if I got into combat with your guardsmen and killed them all, my consolidate is only 3 inches. That will not get me within an inch of your tank commander because you're 4.1, so I'd have 4 inches. I'd be 0.1 out, which means it is impossible for me to tag your tank commander and basically trap them in close combat. However, in Flyblown Host, not only do you get a 6-inch pile and you get the 6-inch consolidate, which means if the guy wanted to stay safe, he'd have to stay 7.1 away, which doesn't sound crazy, like, oh, if you can do 4.1, why can't you do 7.1? It's a lot harder than you think because that's a lot more space, which means it's a lot easier to tag units, and it also means that if you make a charge with a unit of something like 20 Poxwalkers, for example, maybe only initially 5 guys make it base to base, and after the pile-in of 3 inches normally, maybe only like 10 guys could swing. But with a 6-inch pile-in, there's a really good chance that all 20 guys are going to be able to get in and swing, and then they can consolidate 6 inches into another unit. So you can see how this can be very powerful. It takes opponents by surprise. It allows you to engage multiple units. So you can, again, charge one unit, pile in, and then you can pile in into multiple units as long as they're closer, if you do clever positioning with self-move blocking and where you're putting your charges. And this allows you to lock up multiple shooting units, keep them tied in close combat, so in your turn, they can't shoot what they want to shoot. That means they have to basically fall back, which is obviously great for you. And then also with the consolidate stratagem, for example, or even just piling in, you can also get onto objectives, more bodies than you thought you could. You can also reach objectives that you normally couldn't. So again, maybe you charged the guardsman squad that was 6 inches off an objective, you kill them all, but now normally you just be stood there like with your pants down in the wind, whereas now you can use the stratagem and 6-inch consolidate all of that squad onto that objective and take it off your opponent, which is really, really powerful. It's incredibly hard to play around this just because of the amount of space it takes up. You basically have a 12-inch movement because you have a 6-inch pile and a 6-inch consolidate, and playing around that is really, really, really difficult for an opponent to do. So, another stratagem we're going to look at today is Enervating Onslaught, and this is going to play into what you're going to see on the table. It's basically an infantry tank shock. So, you can deal a maximum of 6 mortal wounds, and what happens is after you make a charge move, you roll a dice for every model that's in engagement range. Now this means any model that is base to base within an inch, or is base to base with a friendly model that is base to base with the enemy unit. So your chances are you're going to get to roll quite a lot of dice. And every 5 up deals a mortal wound. However, if you are not a cultist or a poxwalker, so basically if you're an actual marine or terminator, you get to do the mortal wounds on a 4 up. So it's quite a reliable way to dish out some mortal wounds. The only downside of this being that it cannot be used versus monsters and vehicles. However, it's a great way to finish weakened units, and you can get them low with guns and then use this to charge, kill them, and then the actual spicy nonsense begins, which is what you're going to see in the live that you're going to see in a second. And this is going to enable the slingshotting stratagem, the slingshotting strategy, sorry, as you'll see in the live example, which I'm going to literally put up in a few seconds now. So we've just covered, remember all of this, because it's going to be very important for table Aiden to take you through. But the rough idea of what we're going to do, I'm just going to go back 2 seconds here, is we're going to use all of the things we just mentioned. We're going to use the fact that we can self-move block, the fact that we can get to places where we want to be for our charges. We're going to use the fact that any unit that has made a charge move this turn is eligible to fight, combined with the fact that the mortal wounds from the stank shock, as it's been officially known, the Enervating Onslaught, are in the charge phase, to basically charge a unit, kill it on the impact of the charge, and then, even though we're not in engagement, you can still remember we can still fight because of the rule in the fight phase. We're still eligible to fight. We're going to use the 6-inch pile into a second unit, swing at that unit, kill that unit, and then consolidate another 6 inches into a third unit or an objective, steal primary, tie up shooting units. It's really powerful, and I'm going to pass you over to table Aiden now because he's going to take you through it, and he's going to do a lot better job of showing you than I will explaining to you. And hopefully, when you see it in action, you'll understand the power that the slingshot has. Hey guys, welcome back to another example with Table Aiden. Hopefully the presentation Aiden's already explained the topic of today, but I'll recap it very quickly. Basically today we're looking at the idea of using the Flyblown host to its maximum. It is genuinely the most important rule in Flyblown host, and that is the stratagem that allows you to do 6-inch pile consolidates, and something we can do with that which is called slingshotting / catapulting, or whatever you want to call it. So we have a scenario on the board right now. So we have currently a unit of Death Shroud that are currently 11 inches away from these Hearthkin warriors here. Now on top of that we also have them about 25 inches away from the Flunderkin back here, and this vehicle somewhere in between. So naturally in a play company game, like, there is a gap between these guys. They've screened it out in a normal game. There's a 5-inch gap between these fellas and the tank. So realistically, even if we charge this squad and kill them, we're not even going to be able to consolidate and lock up this Sagittor. However, this is the difference that Flyblown host is going to show. And I made a crazy claim that Death Shroud can move over 20 inches in a turn, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So in this scenario, our Death Shroud haven't moved, so we're going to first of all just move our nice cheeky 4 inches forward. So we're going to make that 11-inch charge into a nice 7-inch charge there. So move forward, move forward, move forward. So usual movement stuff, nothing clever. Now we're going to have this Blight Hauler, because he's just here for a little bit of support. He's just going to move up to there. And the reason the Blight Hauler is here is to show importance of thinking before acting. So right now, you might be thinking, okay, Aiden, next step, flame the shit out of these guys. No, because what I'm going to use is I'm going to use my opponent's screening against them. But to do this, I want to sort of weaken the screen but not kill it. So what I'm actually going to do is, first up, I'm going to have this Hauler shoot his little bile spurt at this squad here. And I also want to weaken this Sagittor if possible. So I'm going to put my melters into the Sagittor, and I'm going to put my spit into these guys here. So we've got the 3 shots on the spit. Let's see if we get anything. So we get a lethal hit, that's nice. We have a 4 up against it, so they're fine. And the 2 melters into the thing, and I miss everything, because of course I do, I always miss everything. Doesn't really matter, we'll put the rocket in as well, sorry, misses. My luck is great. So knowing that, I'm now actually just going to fire a couple flamers, but I'm not going to fire the entire unit. So I'm going to put 2d6 flamers into it. I'm hoping not to kill them all. So I get an 8. So that should be pretty good. So we get 8 dice, wounded them on 4s. Brilliant, excellent, happy days. They get 4 up saves, so realistically should not wipe the squad. There you go, kill 3 of them. Realistically, they're going to keep the special weapons. So, just like that. So we've killed 3 of the dudes. Now, I could have shot more and wiped them out, but again, to use slingshotting, we kind of want to leave a unit that's kind of weak. So now, we're going to go ahead as normal. So I'm going to declare a charge onto these dudes here. So let's go for, oh, we get 7, we get 8, perfect. So let's move in our 8 inches. So bear in mind, we've got a base to base if possible. We're going to try our best, in fact, I'm going to go with a lot of contagion first, to get right around the side there, like that. This guy's then going to come from the back, he's going to base there, and then we use self-move blocking so that another Terminator can't get in this gap here. This one's going to come over here and do the exact same, so the rest of them can't actually base to base this squad, which means they can go anywhere as long as it's close to the enemy unit. So he's going to come up to there, he's just going to come flying up to there, he's going to come over, he can base, so he's going to have to go there with the base space, so that's fine, and this guy is going to move up to there. Cool. So right now you're thinking, cool, swing, kill him, consolidate, the end. No, Flyblown host, remember. So, in this scenario, we're still in the charge phase, so remember that, we're not in the fight phase yet. In the charge phase, I'm going to use the Enervating Onslaught stratagem, which hopefully will pop up on screen when I say that, so you can read it. So what I do is I roll a dice for every unit that is within engagement range, and in this unit, there is 7 guys, so I'm going to roll 7 dice. 7 dice. And every 5 up deals a mortal wound to the unit that's in engagement range with me, as long as it's infantry, and well, not vehicle or monster. So, because they're Terminators, however, I get to add 1 to the roll. So it's going to be every 4 ups. So I'm going to look for 2 4-ups here. So can we get 2 4-ups? Bang on, there we go. We get 4 4-ups. We're going to do 4 mortal wounds and kill that squad. So that squad is dead. Now remember, this is the charge phase. So we're not even in the fight phase yet. So, charge phase ends. Now, we're going to the fight phase. So let's have a look at what units are eligible to fight. So remember the rules of what is eligible to fight. They are, if an enemy unit is within 1 inch, well, engagement range of your unit. Is there a unit within engagement range of these Death Shroud? No. However, there is the other caveat, which is a unit has made a charge move this turn. Well, we definitely have made a charge move this turn, which means they're eligible to fight.
So now I'm going to spend another CP on the Vermin Cloud stratagem, which is the one that lets me do the 6-inch pile-in and consolidate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pile in 6 inches to the closest enemy model, which is going to be this guy here. So I'm going to move 6 inches, 6 inches, 6 inches in there, right up to there. This guy's going to go around the back 6 inches to like that. This guy's going to go 6 inches to here, all around like that. Just happy days. And because this is 10th edition, not 9th, we are actually eligible to swing at the Sagittor. So I'm going to have my entire Death Shroud squad swing into the Sagittor though. So even though I charged the unit that was here, after piling, this is now an eligible target. So I'm going to swing at the Sagittor. So I'm going to go on a lot of contagion first. So let's just get that out of the way. So 2s to hit. I'm going to fish for lethals just in case. 1 lethal, there you go. And then these are wounded on 5s because the damn thing's T10. Great, 1. Fails it saves, so it's 3 damage, so it's down to 6. And then we got some Death Shrouds, so we'll do 2 lots of 2 lots of Death Shroud here. So it's down to 6 wounds. Go with these. 1 lethal. I'm just going to fish again because I'm wounded on 5s. There we go, that's more like it. Look at that. That's what I want to see. And then 5s to wound. And then it's got 5 up save. One needs to fail 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. There you go. So that Sagittor dies now. So the Sagittor dies. Now remember, that stratagem for 6-inch pile in is also for a consolidate. So now, oh look, this unit is within 7 inches because you only got that within an inch for its engagement range. So what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to consolidate into this squad here. Easy peasy. And not only have I got them in engagement range and tagged them, I've also now taken the objective off them because I have more OC. So this unit of Death Shroud, which was like here somewhere, is now in here, 24 inches away in a single turn because we used the Enervating Onslaught stratagem to allow us to charge, kill a unit on impact, pile into the next unit behind it, swing, kill that unit, and then consolidate into another unit. It's crazy. But I know what you're thinking. Okay, Aiden, that's really cool, that's a really nice trick. But what if there is, for example, a Sagittor in the way, because you can't use Enervating Onslaught versus vehicles? Well, don't worry guys, because that is also easily solvable. So let's look at this scenario now. So let's reverse it around. So the Hearthkin of the second wall. So we're just flipping it around to the Hearthkin of the second wall, the Thunderkin at the back. What you can do is the same idea, the same principle, but you're going to use, and bear in mind, you could also use Tank Shock off this thing over here. If you weakened it down, you could try and finish off with Tank Shock. But you could also potentially use something a little bigger than that. So give me 2 seconds. Let me just reach into this old little baggie here. This guy will do it, I'm sure. Hopefully, we'll see. You never know with this dude. So let's bring out good old Mortimer, eh? Let's get old Mortimer out. So Mortimer's here. So the same principle is going to happen. We're going to charge Mortimer first at this here tank. So he's going to charge on in. An 8, he gets that. So Morty's going to come on in. So Morty's going to come flying into the Sagittor here. Then our Death Shroud are going to try as well. On a 6. Yeah, I guess it's just in. So we'll go there. There. And this isn't actually great. So I'd probably CP roll that because it's really important to get an 8 there. And again, I've not really pre-measured this. But let's just imagine you can get a guy like here, here. And the rest can all come to here. Now the same principle applies as before. Even though we can't kill this thing on the impact from the charge phase, what we can do is, when we go into the fight phase, we can activate Mortarion first. So let's go with Mortarion. So hitting on 2s, getting 1 lethal and dropping 1, of course. Wounded on 3s, 4 wounds at AP3, it's got 6 ups, 3, 6, 4, 8, 12 damage. It's dead. So that dies, that goes bye-bye. And now we're in the same position as before where we have a unit that's made a charge move but isn't in engagement range. So now we are still eligible to use that same stratagem on this unit, which will then pile in 6 into these guys, just like before, like this, he'll come behind, everyone else comes on over, just like that. They then obviously should kill 5 1 wound models, and then they have the 6-inch consolidate onto this unit back here, once again tagging them and managing to at least contest the objective in this scenario here. So there's many different ways for you to get this slingshot effect off. The first one being using something like Tank Shock or Enervating Onslaught, and the second one being using the second unit to kill the initial unit, and then using the second unit's activation with the 6-inch pile and consolidate to pile into the next thing across. It's a very powerful stratagem. It's the best thing about Flyblown host, and as you can see, we had Death Shroud move 24 inches in a turn. People do not expect that at all. Like, that could be an opponent's home field objective over there, which you just slingshotted and took out of nowhere. So it's a really cool tool. Try it out. Always look for opportunities to do things like this, because that is where the power is in this detachment. Back to presentation, and hope you guys like that.
Welcome back. So hopefully Table Aiden's explained that for you there. Now, this was just a quick video. We've had a lot of people comment on this one saying, can you show us an example of the slingshot, because they don't understand it. So hopefully Table Aiden there has managed to show you a good live example of how to perform it and how it can work. And you got to understand, for one command point, the 6-inch piling consolidate is incredible. As you can see, it can be enabled by both the Enervating Onslaught stratagem, or by having a secondary unit to help with the charge. It could even be done by a tank shock, for example, by a blight hauler, for example, or just have more tyrant, or even a second Death Shroud unit. Anything that can kill that initial unit can really help set up this slingshot ability. So it's really important that you maximize this, because it gives you a massive boost to your mobility. You saw how far those Death Shroud just moved. Imagine that towards your opponent's deployment zone. They're going to shit their bricks as this thing moves up the table. So it's really important that as you're moving, you're looking to set up stuff like multiple charges, so getting units in different places so that you can charge with a Mortarion and a Death Shroud, so then you can kill it with Mortarion and do the thing. Or you're looking for a weakened unit, maybe it's like a 5-man scout squad. You just spray like 3 flamers at them, because you're an average kill like 2.5, and then you use like the stank shocks, like try and finish them off, and then you slingshot off that. It's all about looking for the potential and getting creative with it, because one instance of this paying off, one instance of this working, can crack a game wide open. I had it against an Admech player. I managed to get a charge onto a transport with Morty and Death Shroud. Morty killed it, and the 6-inch piling let me get into a unit of Rangers, and I killed all them with a Death Shroud, and the Consolidate let me tag a tank that was sat on his home objective, and I out-OC'd him. So I took his home objective off him, killed a unit of Rangers that were there for the OC to hold it, and just moved about 18 inches in a turn, which is incredible. And now he has 6 Death Shroud and a lot of Contagion sat on his home objective. That's a bit of a problem. So get creative, keep your eyes open, look for opportunities, set them up for yourself, and always remember this slingshot is the main important reason that you're playing Flyblown. It's the best part about it, and if you pull it off even just once, it's not something that you're playing every 5 rounds, but if you set even 1, maybe 2 in a game, it can really set you up for victory, because it's all about attacking the scoreboard in Flyblown host, and that is the one thing this trick can do really, really, really well. So again, if you need a refresher on it, go watch Table Aiden again. He'll take you through it, but I hope this has explained the slingshot strategy and the ideas behind it and what you can do. And try it out in your games. Let me know in the comments section if you managed to pull it off. How effective was it? How many points did you steal off your opponent? What did you get to swing into that your opponent wasn't expecting? I want to hear all of your tales about it. I'm super looking forward to people keeping playing Flyblown. I was really down on it at first, and it's kind of really grown on me, so I'm looking forward to other people's tales of success with this detachment, as well as Plague Company. But for now, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, this was a small episode, just covering the one trick today, because it's quite an important trick to know for Flyblown host, and hopefully Table Aiden did a good enough job to explain to you guys how to pull it off. But thank you to everyone that's on the screen right now. If you are in the UK and you want to pick yourself up some models, check out our Element Games affiliate link. You get crystals, we get crystals, everybody wins. Thank you to Vanguard Tactics, who we play for. I'm one of their coaches for Death Guard. And you can go check out their channel where they give us support. We give them support, battle reports, coaching, all that kind of stuff. Go check them out. Thank you to our YouTube members, and the people that are keeping the lights on this channel. You guys, you Plague Marines are absolute legends. Thank you so much. And thank you to one of our friends at Saltite Games, who make some products for us that people can buy. Right now they're closed for a little bit of a Christmas break, but they will soon be open, but their shop link is in the bio below. But for now, everybody, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you tuning in for this one. I will catch you all on the next episode. Take care, stay rotted, bye bye.